Wow, guys. Yeah, this is the last Sorare lineups for me. For 2023, it's game week 19 on Sorare. Let's run you through my lineup, some of the tips that I'm going to have, and also a little bit of news to share with you guys. Let's jump into the video. My lineups going forward now for Season 2 on Sorare are going to be powered by top tier projections. If you want to see what they're all about and try and gain that little edge over the competition within the Sorare streets, I'll leave a link to it down below in the description for you to go and check them out. Let the guys over at Top Tier Projections know that I'm the one that sent you. They'll give you a special offer and it will also help support me making these videos going forward. On with the video. Now, this doesn't mean all my lineups are only going to be done off there. I'm still going to be trusting my gut because after all, projections are just projections. They're not set results. Right, before we jump into my lineups as well, let's just have a quick look through at what happened over that Christmas Day slate of games before we jump into the New Year stuff. As you can see, I hit a reward in Limited Contender. Could have been better if Mo Wagner hadn't have sold for me across 2 games here. We were looking maybe at tier 1, but we've settled in the end for a good tier 3 card. And then it's just the story of how close we were. We've just got players in wrong lineups everywhere. Rare Underdog, 8 points away. JaVale McGee sold me out there. Rare Champion, Sohan sold me out there. And so did Booker to an extent. Paul Reed and Anthony Edwards. Massive performances. Rare Contender was just a complete miss. Now, Limited Christmas Day and Limit Champion are the tough ones. If I'd have swapped Luka into Christmas Day, I'm hitting one of those special Christmas Day cards. For some reason, I had it in my head that Giannis was going to have a really big game against the Knicks. Didn't work out. Went to pot. So look, we've hit a reward. We've kept the winning streak going. I think we're in game week 18, and I've won in 15 out of the 18 game weeks so far this year. So I'm happy with it. But let's build my lineups now, starting with commons for game week 19. Right then, as ever with commons, if you're a subscriber to the channel, you like the video, and you've dropped any form of comment down below, if I win the limited card, you'll be within a chance to win it. I've given away cards all season long. It's always going to be there. Luka Doncic will be my MVP for this week. No brainer for it. I'm not sure. Is he officially ruled out? No, he was ruled out on the quad. He was questionable before, but if he's playing the Warriors, he's in for me for sure. I want to scroll on down here because I know that I want to pick up a Tobias Harris. Joel Embiid is still out, so I still want Tobias Harris in there. He is on a back-to-back, but I would expect Tobias Harris to play in both of those games. Also, where is Brook Lopez? Brook Lopez, another guy that I'm going to want. A 31 is just too low for him, especially with, 1, his shooting ability, and 2, the defensive actions that he can get within this team. And also the Cavs are in a bit of a weird state right now, so I'm going to roll with him. If we look towards the cheaper end, Rui Hachimura's got 2 games here. I have a feeling LeBron might sit one, and if this is the case, then I like Rui Hachimura for it. And that leaves me with 41 left, so we can go for someone really big here. Anthony Simons, no. DeJounte Murray, even though he's playing the Wizards, no. I'm going to roll with Jaren Jackson Jr. to round out that lineup now. Now that Ja Morant, I know he missed a game with illness, but now he's back. Hopefully, that wins a limited card that I can give away to you guys. Let's do my limited lineups now as well. Right then, for Limited Champion, obviously, we're looking at some of my MVPs, and they've got big yellow flags around them, which isn't ideal, I know. Joel Embiid is officially ruled out on the Friday game against Houston, so I don't think he's going to be back for that Chicago game either. So I'm going to run without Embiid. I think if he was there, obviously, he'd be my MVP this week. He's got 2 games, but sprained ankle, I don't expect him to be back for that. Luka Doncic in a similar boat. He was out, he missed that game in the quad, like I said. I'll risk him on the commons, but I'm not going to risk him in the Limited Champion streets. I am going to play Giannis because he's probable for the Cleveland game. And I still like Giannis for that. These 2 would be better, but I'll still run with Giannis. Partnering Giannis, I'm going to go for Jason Tatum as well. Obviously, they avoided narrowly that embarrassing defeat that could have been to the Detroit Pistons. He picked up 66, which in recent weeks is his best one since he played Charlotte. So we're looking at here, Pistons game, very good. Charlotte's game, very good. And got the Spurs. So I'm liking Jason Tatum. He's also got 2 games as well, which is nice for him. If we scroll on down, another 2-game player I'm going to rock with is the Kyle Kuzma Season 2 card that I picked up at the start of the year. This card paid for itself when the in-season tournament was on. He's had a few ropey games because he's been coming in and out of the lineup with injury. I would expect him to get back to his best, and I quite like these for high-scoring games, especially that one against the Hawks there. If I scroll on down, another guy that's been featured in and out is Jordan Poole. Like I just said, I think that game against the game against the Hawks is going to be very high-scoring, and I like Jordan Poole for that matchup. And that leaves me then with 16 left. So if we scroll on down here, we've got a couple of options. We've got Cason Wallace, not Cameron Wallace, Cason Wallace obviously at OKC with 2 games, Trey Jones with 2 games against the Blazers and the Celtics, and then Anthony Black, who's been starting to get a little bit more involved and actually have that starting unit role that the Magic has been giving him. But I'm going to go for Trey Jones just because I think that game against the Blazers is going to be very high scoring. And he's more of a traditional point guard now. Now that Sohan at point guard has moved away, he's the more traditional point guard. So that's going to be my limited champion one. If I do get news that Embiid is going to play in the Chicago game, I might swap him out. But for now, that's my limited champion contender now. Right then, for limited contender this week, I'm a little bit stuck as well because there's some very nice players that I like. I like Tobias Harris, like I've said before. I also don't hate Franz Wagner, even at 37 this week. But I want to run Ja Morant. The issue with him is obviously he was out. He missed that game with illness against Denver. So hopefully he's back for the Clippers game because I really like him for that one. So he'll fit in, and then I'm already spending big. So that means surely I'm going to go cheap. No, I'm also going to put in there Tyrese Maxey. Now, since Embiid's been out, his numbers have gone down, but I don't think that that's a long-term thing. I just feel like they were 2 isolated games. That game against Chicago, I really, really like Tyrese Maxey for. He's also now an 8.5% thanks to that little lovely collection boost that we've got going on with my Sixers stack. So now we're looking at it and you're like, okay, you've done 25 for 3 spots left. You've got 8 here to spend. How on earth are you going to do it? Well, let me show you. Let's go bargain bucket hunting. Now, Paul Reed, I could easily throw in here, but then that limits me to 2 guys. It's 2 guys with 6. Vanderbilt is going to be 1. And now I know what you're thinking. I'm absolutely crazy for throwing Jared Vanderbilt in here. And you might be right, but he's looked a little bit better of late in that starting lineup role that you saw of the previous season with the Lakers. When they're at their best, Jared Vanderbilt can score well in this game. He really can. Next up, I'm going to throw in is Julian Champagny. Obviously, with the Spurs again, he's been having those games where he hits. If he catches heat, he really does score well. And I know they've just played the Blazers and it wasn't great, but I'm going to run with him again because that L10-9 is just too good to ignore. And then also, now this is one that is going to be, I wouldn't have picked, but this is somewhere where I'm getting from some of the projections now. Jayshawn Tate's looking really, really nice. I feel it's because obviously they're going to expect the Sixers to blow these out, or also his role is just going to be something in there. But I'm going to go with this. These two, like a Champagny and a Vanderbilt, I've played all year. A Tate is an interesting one to go for the pickup here. So on a contending lineup, if they can all smash this, this looks really, really nice. Let's do underdog now. So like we said with underdog, obviously we came really, really close to hitting in rare underdog, but JaVale McGee let us down. So let's take a look at what we've got to work with down here as well. So Jaden McDaniels at an L10 of just 6. Been getting some sort of minutes now with the Raptors. We'll throw him in there for sure. Jackson Hayes on a back-to-back L10 of 6. I'm obviously going to be playing that card in here. So now we've got 16. We can go and get someone of decent value, I'd say. And if I think about this, like we haven't got Paul Reed in any of our lineups yet, so we have to throw him in there. Obviously, it takes Jackson Hayes out every damn time. That leaves me with 17 left. Now, I could go the route of the Kelly Oubres of the world. I could pick back up a Mo Wagner and maybe a Sam Hauser or an Anthony Black. But if I scroll up, I can get a DeAnthony Melton. That's 27, and I like him, obviously. When Embiid's not there, the ball moves around a lot more. And then I could go for either McGee or Bryce McGowens. And now, the reason I'm going to go for Bryce is Gordon Hayward's out for 2 weeks, which should hopefully see a little bit of a bump around the ball going around a bit more. And when Gordon Hayward hasn't played, McGowens has looked quite good. So do you know what? As limited underdog lineups go, maybe Paul Reed will squeeze his way into a champion or contender one closer to the lock. But for the time being, I'm very happy with this. Let's do res now. Now, I've been deciding what I want to prioritize this week with rare champion or rare contender. And the reason I'm leaning now towards rare champion is if Embiid is out, if Luka is sitting, and then maybe Jokic might sit. I'm not sure where he's at. And then also, obviously, you've got Giannis. I know he's probable. I'm not at a massive disadvantage now for the top tier MVPs is what I'm saying. So I could go for my Devin Booker here and then also go and pick up the Jordan Poole that I think is a good play this week. Another one that looks really, really strong for me now is also we have that little nice added collection bonus. Mikal Bridges has not been hitting the heights recently. So his L10 has come flying down to 31. And as a result of this, he's capable of a 50, 40, even 60-point score. And he's playing against the Wizards and the OKC. So Mikal Bridges is going to fly in there for me as well. Now, when I think about where I want to go else with this team, I would love to get Anthony Edwards in there. That then leaves me with 23. And I'm not loving any of these options that are here. So it's then dependent on if I then take it all the way down and just pick Paul Reed, or do I go and then pick Dame Lillard? and then I have this as the cap space. This is the issue I've got. So that then makes me think, should I then prioritize contender? There's two ways of looking at it. I can do this, or I mean, if I go down the champion road for it, I've got Jaylen Brown that I can throw in here, and then also I can go and pick up. Even Malcolm Brogdon at 25 is really nice. That's my issue. I could then just throw Jeremy Sohan in here, and we're looking at 3 on the table. And I think if I'm looking at this here, I think Devin Booker, he hasn't been hitting massive scores, but he has to have a game in him soon, even if it's a 60-point game where he's getting that for me. Jordan Poole I really like. Mikal Bridges I really like. Jaylen Brown I'm iffy on, but 39's high, but he can go into the 50s or the 60s. Is Jaylen Brown out? He's out for the Detroit game, so he had that game of rest. And then we've got Jeremy Sohan is the only other thing from it. But I don't hate this, so I think I'll do this for champion, and then contender will look like this. And then the beauty of having the gallery that I've got for contender is that I can scroll on down here, and obviously I've got some nice pieces that are going to be towards different levels. DeAndre Jordan was a card that I won. I think I had this filmed. when I opened them. Paul Reed is someone there. DeAndre Jordan will only be of use to me if Nikola Jokic sits closer to the lock. So Paul Reed's going to come in there for me. Now, I've got 2 guys here who I've had for ages. Kelly Oubre Jr. obviously is very capable of scoring high in any games because of his defensive actions that he's got. But when Embiid's out, the ball is spread around a lot more. Another one to note here is Gary Trent Jr. is coming to the starting lineup now instead of Dennis Schroeder for Toronto. And he's obviously got 2 games on a back-to-back against Boston and against Detroit. Now, Gary Trent Jr. loves an injury whenever I need to play him. So I'm going to play him, but air him with a side of caution is all I'm also going to say to that matter. Now, I do have some other guys around the 20 mark that do tempt me. Cam Reddish is one of them. He did miss that game against Charlotte, but 19 isn't... It's not terrible, but it's not great. Harrison Barnes is an interesting one because at 20, he can go into the 30s. And it's not like this is a very rare thing for him to do. He's very capable of doing it. And because he's got 2 games against the Grizzlies and the Hawks, who are not all that, I think I'll throw him in here. That then leaves me with 39. So I can go big on a player. I love Anthony Edwards in this. Even though he's got the 1 game against the Lakers, I'm sure he's going to do mad things for it. I don't really want to pick Bam. I don't want to pick Jimmy. And I don't want to go down that low. So I think it's just Jaren Jackson Jr. by default. And I really like this as a rare contending lineup. The only thing I don't have is Malcolm Brogdon, and I'm missing not playing him, but I'll see if I can fit him in underdog. Let's do that now. Right then, as always with underdog, let's go and pick him. There's Jackson Hayes. There he is. Hopefully, maybe one day, Anthony Davis will sit a game and we'll get a Jackson Hayes sort of 25-point performance. Someone can hope, that's all I'll say. We're also going to throw in Javon Carter because... Again, the Bulls at the moment, he's just been getting some form of minutes, but with an L10 of 10, I'll throw him in there. Vanderbilt will be the same. Do we want to put Ish Smith in there? I could do Ish Smith. Maybe Trendon Watford would be a little bit juicier for me. I just don't... Ish Smith at 10 with 1 game, even though it's the Suns, he might get 17, whereas Trendon Watford could go off in one of these games. So I might go Trendon Watford, and then that leaves me with 23. I could go Marcus Smart if I drop down to Smith, though, couldn't I? Or even Brogdon. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to drop that back down to Ish Smith. It's such a shame that Bol gets literally no time on the floor. Such a shame for it. I know he's been getting a couple minutes here and there now, but he used to be a really, really strong scorer because of what he can do. So we're going to go Ish Smith. Have I got someone at 27? No, I don't. We're going to go Ish Smith, and then we'll also play Brogdon. Marcus Smart's also a shout. I know he's back now for the Grizzlies, but we're going to go for Brogdon in that game against the Spurs, and we'll submit that there. And how could I forget about Street Ball, eh? There we go. Bam Adebayo rounds that one up. Have we got any? Oh yeah, and then we'll throw in Luka and Embiid. What a street ball lineup that could be if they all play. We'll wait and see. So guys, that's going to do it. Thank you very much for watching this Sorare video. It's game week 19, as I've said. Let me know how you're getting on with Sorare if you won any of those special edition cards in the Christmas game weeks that were coming. I hope you've enjoyed the content from Sorare from me on the channel this year. It has meant a lot to me for you guys watching the videos. Don't forget to check out top tier projections down below. I'll leave a link there. Let them know that I sent you as well. But if not, have a happy new year and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.